Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis, and today I want to cover the Exodus Garden 2A Lost Sector. I'm going to do this on Master, but honestly, as this is very easy to farm, you could probably get a lot more easy runs on Legend, and probably just run this thing over and over multiple times, especially if you're farming this, you know, in this next 24 hours or so, or whenever you see this in the future. You got Barrier and Overload, not a big deal, because the Burn and the Shields are both Void. It's like one of the easiest to spec out for, and for Witch Queen, it's Void 3.0, so you got a lot of Void. So I'm going to run Pointed Inquiry. This is literally like a world drop on the Throne World. Also, Red Herring, another Void item. This is going to be your heavy weapon. Your heavy weapon being Void is really going to give you that big chunk damage when you need it. Void weapon for the Barrier champions, which are going to be Servitors. Also, the few Void shields that you have are also going to be Servitors. And then Overload. It's really up to you and what you want to use here, but Crate is actually a nice one because you have Vice Stinger. Damaging an enemy with this weapon has a small chance to reload the magazine and increase movement speed and ADS. Bows receive a faster draw speed and swords receive faster charge rate, which is fine, but the idea is you get more bullets. Now mine also has overflow, so I probably have a little bit extra, but the idea is you can sit there and fire a lot more bullets than you normally would. Make sure you put major spec on this thing, and you can actually put some work in on the champions. Still not the fastest, but you're able to do it, and on Legend difficulty, this would actually be really effective. Pointed Inquiry, you're just going to be picking stuff off at range. This is a crafted one. It still has adaptive munitions, which is doing nothing on this, so that's a pretty useless one. And then I've got my Red Herring. This isn't leveled up, but it's got an Ambitious Assassin and Frenzy on it, so pretty straightforward. Other than that, Void Resistance is probably going to be the most important one, but as you can do Void and the others, you know, there is some solar damage that's going to hurt. The Overload captains are going to be shooting solar damage at you on one and arc damage at you on the other one, so this is actually not a bad way to kind of get your resistance covered. I've got Volatile Flow, Well of Tenacity, Elemental Armaments, my usual stuff I just leave on there. And then make sure your Heavy matches your Scavenger and your Ammo Finder. Obviously not running reserves. So let's jump in and show you guys. Honestly, this is very, very farmable on Legend. The Master version is just going to be a little slower, but here we go. Alright, so when you kick it off, you're likely to find a Servitor and then some Shanks just in this opening area. So depending on if the Servitor's in front of you, you might have to deal with that. If the Shanks are around the corner, or if the Servitors are around the corner, you might have to deal with that one first. I would save your Heavy right now. Just use your Scout, use your Auto Rifle once you break a shield. Put rounds into it however it's comfortable. Honestly, breaking the shield over and over, that's a nice way to just, you know, get a little easy damage. But this is why the Vice Stinger, you see it kind of pop up every so often. And it gets me just that little bit of extra ammo on those Overload shields. It's going to help. Now, I am running Void, so I've got a Vortex Grenade. So you're going to have a whole bunch of Thrall that kind of come into a nice little grouping here. Vortex Grenade is great because it will pull the enemies in. And then if you run something like Volatile and getting grenades to explode, those guys go down real quick. Most of them will be dead in typically about one grenade. I've done this twice, and they all die really fast. And then over here on the left, you're going to have your Barrier. Now, this is probably one of the more tricky ones. Your goal is probably to stun the champion and then focus on the Shanks so you have less kind of bonus damage coming at you. So you can kill the Shanks while you're waiting on the Servitor. Now, I didn't reload well there. I was trying to kill the Shanks. That's my main focus. I got the... Okay, so all the Shanks are down. Now I can chase the Servitor a little bit more aggressively. Again, the Heavy, depending on how much Heavy you have drop. If you have Heavy drop, I would 100% use one here. And I tend to have a decent amount drop. That's just going to make this process a lot faster, but you are going to have Overload Captains and other places where I would probably find it more beneficial to have the Heavy ammo. So that's where I would likely use it. Now, you're going to have an Overload Champion come out pretty quickly here. So if you're worried about positioning, you could pull back a little bit, wait for it to come out, make sure your Heavy is reloaded. And it is Overload, so you're going to want your Auto Rifle out, whatever you're using for that. Now, if you can keep it line of sight with you, if you can just sit here and just throw shots into it. Also, Overload Grenade would be a great addition here because you are running basically Void everything. I like the positioning up here in this tube, though, because he's not going to get all his shots to hit you. But if you get close enough, you can just unload and pretty much delete them. That's why the Heavies are really going to be good to be able to get that big chunk damage on. Then you can come around the corner. You can do this one of two ways. If you got Volatile on, which apparently I do right now, you can start blowing things up. Makes life really fun. If you don't have Volatile rounds on, could take a little longer, but just sit there and clear out the ads. And as I said, on Legend, this is really, really farmable, just due to the fact of how much damage you can put out. Now, you're going to have an Overload Champion up top. He's going to be a little on the annoying side. My advice is probably to come up here, get yourself a little cover behind this box, and sit here and just work him down. Not every shot is going to hit you if you kind of bob back and forth. And again, if you don't have as many bullets in your clip as I do, because I'm getting that Vice Stinger every so often for a little bit of refresh for bullets, Could take a little bit longer. This is where the overload grenade is going to be really, really good, though. So I highly recommend the overload grenade. Because, again, you can throw it over there. You're going to get a lot of damage because it's a void grenade. And he's going to go down fairly quick. And that's just going to give you bonus damage on the champion. So as you push forward, I did see some heavy ammo drop. If you come up here and you try and take anything out, my advice is kind of go up there and get things to spawn and then pull back. Because there's a lot of enemies who will teleport up top. And depending on your positioning, you can get caught kind of with your pants down, per se. But if you can kill some of these guys before the servitor comes out here, you'll be in a nice, better position because there's just less guys throwing stuff at you that are going to be a little annoying. When the servitor comes out, there's a lot of stuff. Now, if I can stun that overload champion, I want to keep him stunned. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep that on him just because he's got so many arc shots coming at me. And this is a point where if I can get a rocket on him, I just whiffed my rocket, which is just painful. Attrition is why this one hurts. And that's why it's really hard to play these guys aggressively. That's why. That's literally the only thing, is you can't get your health back in a normal amount of time unless you're getting those healing wells up. Now, if you can get 2 rockets, I could have theoretically just killed him straight away with the double rocket, but I know not everybody's going to have Ambitious Assassin on their rocket launcher. So I'm trying not to at this point, but if you don't go too far forward, you might be able to get a reasonable angle on this guy without having the servitor push up too far. The servitor is going to come out of the back. Now, if he gets, you know, rocked by the servitor, that's one thing. I'm trying to reload, and then I'm going to try and keep my aggression on here. Trying to pepper him, keep a couple shots on him. See, that's the problem with attrition. That's why I still hate that damn modifier, too. He's not that bad if you can just get 2 chunks on him with, like, rockets. And I've got rockets sitting on the ground. But I'm just trying to show you guys how it can go poorly with this overload. If the barrier comes out, it gets to be really rough. This is why the overload grenade would probably be amazing right here, because then I could keep the damage on him, get him a little bit more stunned and annoyed, and he's down. So I recommend overload grenades. I know I'm not running them, but that's just why. Now, the barrier champion is in the back because I haven't really pushed forward. Now that's... Yep. Now, since I used that rocket, that causes the barrier champion to pop his shield. Nice place up top to work for a little while, but you'll notice you're going to get overrun by a lot of ads just like that up top. I'm actually showing you guys multiple deaths in one because I want you guys to see how things can go poorly. But those enemies that teleport up top, honestly, really annoying because there's not much you can do, and they do just continue to teleport up top. Little that you can do about them, honestly, because they will just warp their butt up there. Nothing you can really do. Now, the barrier servitor will be shielding most guys until they get close enough to you for really put some work in on them. Now, the other thing you're up top you're going to have are some enemies that are going to be orange bar. You're going to have some orange bar dregs that come up top, and those are going to get to be really annoying. These guys are the ones that are hurt. They are going to hurt. So depending on if the servitor is shielding them or not, you can take these guys out. Having a nice Void Scout rifle puts in so much more damage than we used to be able to do. So I feel like it wasn't quite as perfect on the shields before, but Void works very well on this one. I'm going to go grab my attrition. See, that's literally just a prime example of how, in a waste of a rocket, which is fine, but it does get me 2 in the chamber, so I guess there are worse things to happen. But yeah, if you can pull these enemies to you away from the servitor who's shielding them, that's kind of going to be your best method of dealing with them. But again, more enemies up top. It was just empty up there, and they just keep popping up there. They don't even always have to jump. They can just teleport. And this guy is shielded by the servitor, depending on his positioning. That dude just appears. This is a great example to show you guys all the ways, like Master especially. If doing this one flawlessly is a whole lot of caution. It's not worth doing flawlessly because you don't get any benefit from it. But doing it flawlessly and you wonder why you have struggles, it's stuff like that that'll just throw you off. That's all. Now, I don't know if there's any more teleportation going on. But, depending on if that grenade's out there. Trying to keep him at bay because I know he's going to pop his shield soon. And I can't even see him right now. There's the shield. And again, with better weapons in here, you could put some great quick work in on this one. Don't you do it. There you go. That's that point where if you have to, like, if you get them that close and you can challenge. Now, if everything's mostly dead, this guy's pretty easy. There we go. Now, this is going to be a little slower run than my last one just because I had multiple deaths, but you're going to have 2 barrier servitors and the boss. Honestly, my recommendation is try and get an angle as far back to this wall as you can where you can actually see the boss. Usually it's going to be a little high at first. Don't mess with the servitors. You're just trying to pepper them so they will move or change position. Because they will pop their shield. They're going to teleport a lot. Now, if you get a chance to hit one and you get to stun him in midair, you could totally go for it if he plays nice. Now, just the big thing to worry about is the fact that he might not play nice. Bad reload time. There we go. Still got it. Watch the enemies down below. Attrition will ruin this whole situation. Come on, I need like 3 bullets in you. 1's down. There we go. 1 is actually down. Normally, it's not even that order that I run it in. Big boss is somewhere, but he's apparently hiding. That's not even the big guy. The big guy is... Where is he? Sometimes this happens. Look for your ads, though. These guys, they're just enough of an annoyance when you have attrition on that you're going to want to try and kill them when you can. But as Void Burn is on, that's where it's going to hurt. Now, if you have Void Concussion Dampener, might be not a bad idea, but those solar damage and the arc damage from the Overload Captains hurts enough. That's why I tend to spread it around. There, I can finally see the big guy over there. So if you can see him, usually this is where you can put in a good amount of damage. And you just sit here. Now I can line up a rocket. Doesn't even have tracking. Typically won't move. And that'll get a good chunk of damage. But if you can see him, he's like, I wish I could shoot you. I wish I could shoot you. But you're like just barely out of range. And this does tend to keep him fairly stationary. So back against the wall. Back here, he's not going to hit you. Watch the aim assist trying to pull it to that center crit spot. And again, this is with no exotics. This is with, like, the basic weapons that you've got. If you have better options, use them. This is just, like, no exotics and legendaries from Witch Queen. There's going to be a lot better options out there, and I know it. I'm sure many of you have stuff that would be better. Use it, by all means, and put that stuff in the comments if you like a loadout that you got. Now I got one more champion. You do want to kill the champion so you get platinum rewards. You can do this out of order just as I did, so be aware that you can do that. Bad timing on the reload there. Not much I can do. Now, if I can get double... Now, what I want to do is I've got the reload. He's typically going to move a little bit. Might teleport once. He's going to prop his shield in any time, really. Make sure you got at least 3 or 4 bullets in there. And I'm going to go just for the quick kill. That'll be all the champions. I got like 1 or 2 more ads in here, so I just got to be careful that I don't get mobbed on the way to the chest. I mean, I still got plenty of time, even if I do die, but if you're taking it really cautious, maybe you're going for flawless, you might want to watch your health a little bit. Got one of the health orbs. Now, the only other thing you're going to want to watch is when you open the chest afterwards, if you're worried about flawless or counting or anything, there's a lot of enemies that pop out right behind that garage door. Or apparently some that just get into positions that you don't think they should be in. Anyway, I'm going to open this up. It sometimes does throw that heavy ammo at you, which is funny. You're going to have the drag, and then you're going to have a whole bunch of shanks over there. They all tend to blow up together if you got something that explodes. And that's a wrap. Now, it's not showing me platinum or exotic, but literally in the previous one, I'll pop a screenshot up here. I did get platinum doing the exact same stuff. So you can kill the final, boss and champions in this room out of order. No big deal, but it is one of the easiest ones to farm. Mess with shields because all of this is like void friendly and there's only one type of shield in here and there's not that many of them. So if you found this video beneficial, drop a like on it. If you've got a loadout that you enjoy using for a subclass or exotics or anything, drop that in the comments below. If you guys want to find me on Twitter, it's Ebontis. Streaming over on Twitch, it's Ebontis. Right here on YouTube, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, hit the alert bell to find my videos, make it to you in the future. And those of you who are YouTube members or Patreon subscribers, thank you for all of the extra support. All of you are amazing, though. I'll see you soon.